Sometimes very smart people believe very wild things. Arthur Schopenhauer studied medicine before switching over to philosophy. And, near the end of his life, he mastered multiple languages: German, English, French, Spanish, Latin, Greek, even Vedic Sanskrit. He is known for his clear writing style, being able to express complex ideas in very simple terms, and for having a special talent for picking the right metaphors to bring these ideas vividly to life. Yet, Dr. Schopenhauer also believed in magic. In the second edition of an essay called On the Will in Nature, Schopenhauer introduces Signor Regazzoni, an Italian hypnotist and magician. For example, a woman was invited on stage to play the piano. Standing 15 paces away, Regazzoni paralyzed the woman, making her unable to play. Another woman was summoned on stage, and as the magical Italian walked behind her, he made her fall backward, without any physical contact. To explain this event from a physical standpoint, Schopenhauer hypothesized that Signor had isolated her brain from her spinal cord, and thereby her sensible and motor nerves, which produced a cataleptic state. Like the tumbling woman, Schopenhauer fell for Regazzoni's act. It never occurred to him that the woman was a plant. The passage in this essay, detailing Schopenhauer's amazement at the Italian magician, has puzzled readers for centuries. Schopenhauer's own explanation for Regazzoni's magic boils down to the following. The magician possesses such a strong, powerful will that he is able to access the world as will and influence it directly, beyond all representation. The change in the world will is then reflected in the world as representation, that is to say, the world as we experience it, as a kind of supernatural phenomenon. Let's use an analogy to make things clearer. If you're baking cookies, the ingredients you use in the dough will change the taste of the final product. In this analogy, the world as will is the cookie dough, before the process of baking has transformed the dough into the final crunchy cookie, the world as representation. By using his supernatural magical powers, Signor Regazzoni was able to change the ingredients of the dough after the cookie was baked. To an observer, Regazzoni has changed the taste of the cookie without touching the dough, a supernatural magical feat. A more in-depth look at Schopenhauer's metaphysics is available right here on this channel. There's a link in the description if you want to learn more. Schopenhauer believed that all humans, to varying degrees, possess the potential for magic. Why? Because humans are creatures of will. Indeed, on the fundamental level, beneath the world of representation, the world as we know it, we are all one. There is no you or me, no this or that, no then and now. The world as will is undifferentiated in space and time. You are will, I am will, the trees are will, the rocks are will. We just don't see it. We just don't realize it. Because our reason tricks us into thinking perceiving objects are ordered in space and time. But this ordering is an illusion. Certain powerful individuals, according to Schopenhauer, can look beyond the veil, so to speak, and directly influence this world of will. This change is then reflected back into the world of representation. In this way, the existence of magic is in perfect agreement with Schopenhauer's larger philosophy. The existence of magic has a perfectly viable, logical, and coherent explanation if you subscribe to Schopenhauer's philosophy. When looked at from the perspective of Schopenhauer's metaphysical framework, magic is not so unbelievable or absurd at all. What does that say about Schopenhauer's philosophy? Should we disregard it because of its patently absurd conclusions about magic? Not entirely. The existence of magic in the Schopenhauerian framework depends on one assumption which need not be religiously observed: that some people can break beyond the world of representation and participate in the world as will. Schopenhauer's mistake was the following. He was anxious to see his philosophy vindicated, and therefore he reasoned, after being fooled by a magic trick, that some people must possess a sufficiently strong will so as to practice magic. In other words, his hypothesis of strong-willed humans exist followed his observation of magic. It was a post hoc explanation, an explanation after the fact. He only came up with it after being fooled by a magic trick. That's why we can safely disregard Schopenhauer's odd beliefs about magic while still enjoying the rest of his philosophy. But, perhaps more importantly, this odd passage in the work of Schopenhauer teaches us an invaluable lesson. Sometimes, even very smart people can believe in very stupid things. And the smarter they are, the more they can convince themselves they're correct. Something to keep in mind in your own life.